Hey guys, Brian here. So today we're going to be doing a Unitronic 4-inch inlet as well as Unitronic 4-inch intake on Mayer's car. So what we're going to do is Mayer's opening everything right now. We're going to open everything up, get it all out, make sure that we have everything that's needed to do the install. And once everything's here, we're going to get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the factory airbox, the front scoop, the rear tube, and we're just going to move the engine cover to be able to do that a little bit easier. T25 for these two screws right here. So to do this part, what you need to do is this is kind of like a zip tie that can be done and undone. Undo that, move it to the side, and then you just squeeze the plug and it comes right out. Tuck it right there for right now. So there's a T30 that holds the bracket in right here. All you have to do is reach behind there. It's a lot easier once you have the box and everything off. So right now we're going to remove the PCV valve from up here. It is a T20. And the way that it routes, if you can get a little bit closer, yep, it routes from here. There's 3 screws to here to the inlet, and we will reuse this piece. on the back, there's 2 bolts that hold this turbo inlet in. There's one on this side that you can easily reach with a ratchet and a T30, and there's one on the other side that you cannot reach easily with a T30. So what I do is we're gonna jack the car up. We're gonna remove the fender liner, and that gives us a lot of room that we can get in there, not only to loosen it, but also to make sure the bolt that holds the Unitronic inlet stays tight. Okay, now that we've got the upper bolt loose, we're gonna go to the bottom. So what I've done is I've loosened up everything for the fender liner. I've removed the lower belly pan. And now what I have to do is I have to remove this charge pipe that's gonna allow me to get it off from the turbo inlet to change everything. Okay, so we're under the car, and right where that bolt, or where that flashlight is shining, there's used to be a bolt there. It's a T10 triple square. So you remove that. You remove this T30 right there, and that allows you to remove this hard pipe. They call it a pancake pipe. Once you loosen up the clamp that's holding it to the turbo. So we just got the pancake pipe out. It's bolted up in this orientation. So what I do is I loosen the top clamp. I then stick a 90-degree pick tool in and kind of get this loosened to get started. And I use the bottom of the pipe and twist it for leverage, and it comes out pretty easy. Okay, so I undid the lower bolt, which is a T30. That makes the inlet very loose and allows us to bring it up through. We probably should undo these clips to give us room for the PCV. Then on the back is another T30. So what we need to do is we need to get this rivet fitting off so we can transfer the PCV hose from the stock inlet to the 4-inch inlet. You can do that with a Dremel, or you can do that, if you're very careful, with a cutoff wheel on a grinder. I'm going to do that with a Dremel.
No, I'm good.
I'm gonna end up breaking this nut, which is fine.
Ooh, watch it.
Can't feel it handling.
There we go.
Put a little bit of weight in. Stupid thing. Okay. So to install the adapter, you're going to want to make sure it's the right one for stock turbo in this situation, which is 56.5 millimeter. Comes with an O-ring. You're going to want to lube it up so that way it slides in nice and smooth. So when you're installing this, you want to make sure that O-ring doesn't come up. So that's why you want it lubed good. And then slides right in. Put the factory ring back on. And then we're gonna do the reverse of what we just did. So stock.
Wow.
Unitronic. And you literally.
Yep.
So I just get this bolt started and then we'll go to the bottom. Okay, so we tightened both the top and bottom 10 millimeter. This is a pretty short 10 millimeter open end. If you can get a shorter one, it's definitely gonna make this job a lot easier. Realistically, a really small stubby 10 millimeter will make the job a lot easier to get that bottom bolt in and tightened. I do recommend you put some red Loctite on it. They are a serrated head on the bolt. However, the last thing you want to do is have this end up being loose and either falling off or, you know, unfiltered air getting into your engine. Okay, so we're gonna do the PCV, and as you can tell, this bolt is really no good anymore. So it comes with the new replacement PCV bolt. So we're gonna install this on the inlet. To install this on the inlet, if you keep this in the orientation that the stock part is, it doesn't fit. So you actually have to just twist it, and you can then orientate it so it bolts right up. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna replace the line. So this is all stainless. However, as you can see, it doesn't fit physically around the 4-inch inlet any longer. So we're gonna replace this because it's a 17 and it's got the plastic wastegate line back here. We're gonna replace the whole line all the way to the valve right here. So let me get that started. I always start putting it on the wastegate first, so that way if I need to trim to length, I can do it right here where it's a lot easier. Okay. So now we're gonna, while we're up here, we're gonna finish up the intake, put the wheel liner back in, the under tray back up, the wheel on, and should be able to button this up pretty quickly. Okay, so we have the rear tube on. I highly recommend that you use some silicone lubricant on all the couplers. It really helps making them slide on easier. It really helps positioning the airbox so that way everything fits nice and tight. Okay, so we put the front scoop in. These Allen bolts are 2.5 millimeter for the wrench. I'm not going to tighten everything down until everything's situated. With these cars, what you have to realize is that it's a really close fit near the brake master cylinder. So it might take moving some things to get it so that way the rear part of the intake doesn't touch this, because if it does, you'll feel it in your brake pedal or gas pedal, like a vibration. Okay, so I actually ended up taking the box back out and putting the elbow on at the same time and then putting it in. Made it a lot easier to get to the bottom bolts. Do not recommend that you tighten this up with power tools. I'm just getting these clamps close enough, and then I'm just going to do finger tight with a flathead screwdriver. So I just put the clamp on first, because it is pretty tough to get it over the fitting. And then slide the hose up on. Doesn't have to be all the way, just needs to be over top of the lip. That's it. So everything's tight. New hose routed away from everything. We're gonna put the engine cover back on, get the lower cover back on, clean everything up, and we'll be right back. Okay guys, so we're done installing the intake and the inlet. Everything fit perfect. Thanks for watching this video. It took about 3 hours in my home garage on jack stands, so if this is your first time installing one, it will probably take a little bit longer. If you have any questions, just ask below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you can. Have a great day.